I would need to use this.
Yeah, let me turn this back on for
Okay.
you.
So just to repeat, all this great stuff is going where next?
I'm actually going to talk with you about that at lunch.
Okay.
Because my thinking is evolving about this. These plans are so powerful. So I'll talk with you about that at lunch, and we'll come back with something for you, okay? Did you just need to be online?
Yes.
Okay.
So Eric, while things are getting set up, just a couple comments. Don't overlook the corporate world. None of you have mentioned the corporate world as a partner. Now, it is a challenge sometimes because it is cross-cultural work business practices. But if SPP becomes like a nonprofit, it's far easier for the corporate world to work through a nonprofit to assist you. Many companies are going through these kinds of things with huge facilities. Many of them have systems in place for educating employees. Many of them have that technical expertise that they potentially, how they're approached, could assist you and support you in these kinds of things.
I think it's great, but also just keep in mind with many prisons, state prisons, business is already connected to prisons and through correctional industries. And Emily and I here in Utah are talking to the head of correctional industries as well as to the Department of Corrections people, using the industrial areas where furniture is being made and where signs are being made as a locale for where education can take place. So what are the chemicals involved with lacquers and so forth? There's a lot of interest in that in the men and women who are working there. So we do have actually quite an easy avenue into certain kinds of industry by interacting with state prisons.
Because I was just mentioning to the folks at Multnomah County is that Aramark has their food service. I work with Aramark on a totally different division of there, but adding into a future food contract an education component, requiring any bidders on a contract to do those things. So thinking creatively of who else can help you that you might not be sitting at the table. We tend to forget the corporate world just because it's part of our culture, unfortunately. So.
All right, so now for something more concrete. Well, we did get to concrete, I guess. Now for something more, I'm not sure. Something that you don't want to look at after lunch, but hopefully for a few minutes before lunch, in lieu of having an orientation video to the SPP network site, I just wanted to roam around there a bit so you can see what it looks like. And then I have a couple of questions to follow up with. So in my browser, which looks like it's Internet Explorer right now, I've gone to network.sustainableprisons.org. There's no www. I am going to log in as Julie Vanesti because she is my personal hero, and she's not an administrator. So I want to be able to see the face that I don't see. It looks different to me than it does to you. Oh, yeah. No, you're not going to see her password. And if anybody has, lost track of their username and password, just tell Fiona and I, and we'll re-enter you. And then this time, keep track. Oh! Okay, let me look. Is the first one lowercase? The first letter? Okay, I did not do that. Okay, so here's the front page. This front page is actually a blog, and so anyone who's an administrator, and we could decide we could move to a model where there's somebody on each team who's an administrator, and so they could post announcements here, and we could make it so that this is a place where the information is pushed, which means it shows up in your inbox and your email whether you want it to or not. So we would use this sparingly but strategically. There's also the idea to have a weekly digest that gets pushed out. Figure that out. On the front, on this landing page, this top post is sticky, so it's always going to be there. If you put another post, it'll go underneath unless we change that. Here are mine and Fiona's email addresses, and here's saying, notice the help page. So I'm going to go there first. I'm not going to review what's there, but just if you're having trouble, why not check the help page? There it is. There's a fair amount of content there already, and I'm sure there can be lots more. So that's sort of, it's an orientation page to the site. Let's see. Oh, right, so next I wanted to go to groups because I see the sort of the friend of the help page being a feedback group that Fiona made recently. So there is an SBP network site feedback. So if you wanted to make comments in this group, that we would check this group for feedback on the site, on how to organize it, what is working, what isn't working. Since this is a group, like any group, you could ask to join the group. So I'm going to ask, as Julie Vanesti, I'm going to ask to join the group. I've successfully joined the group. The default, you see in the green here, it says your group email status is no email. So when you join a group, all you're saying is that you've joined the group, and now you have the ability to comment and post not post as in blog post, but as I think you can upload documents and things like that. Not totally sure. But so the default is that you're not going to get any email from this group. So if you want to change that, I can click here on Get Email Updates, or I can go to Email Options over here. And that's either of those links take you to the same place. You can see there's the default of no email. Oops, I'm going to scroll down, I think. And I'm going to say, okay, well, if there's feedback coming, I think I want to know about that weekly. And then I'm going to say save. There is a search up here. And right now it's a search for members. So let's say I wanted to find Jill Boone. Let's see what happens if I just put in Jill. Will it give me? Yep. If I go to Jill Boone's profile, and I look at all of the things, her existing programming, what she's trying to develop, and so let's say that I then want to see everybody who knows about composting. So I click on composting, and here's a list of everybody who has said that that is their expertise, which is a lot of people. And we're hoping, I think one of the plugins that we want to buy is a more refined way to search for expertise. But at least we got this right now. I can change the search to be, I can look for groups, I can look for forums, I can look for posts. So, once the list of groups gets too long, you can start doing a search for groups and say, where is that feedback group again? And then I assume it will pop up. Yep, there it is. Another little thing, there's this blue circle up here. I don't like this blue circle because I keep forgetting to check it. But if I hover over it, I haven't even clicked on it, I've just gone to it. I can see, oh, wow, someone invited me to this group, SBP Washington Presentation for Utah. I did invite Julie to that group. So then I could go there and accept that invitation. And she can see that she's got 2 pending friendship requests. Okay, so that's basic navigation. Do we want, and I should say, I feel like we brought a skeleton site on purpose here, and now I immediately feel like, wow, there's 1,000 things I want to do to make this more functional. And I feel like we've gone over some of those already, maybe in enough detail after the concurrent sessions yesterday. If you have more ideas about what you want to see there, that's great. I also, so there a number of things. I want people to get on there and try it out, see if it's worth it. I'd kind of like to get a sense now how people are feeling about it. And I'd also like to get a sense now of when do we start adding other people to it so there's more reason for everybody here to go there. We have a pretty long spreadsheet with a lot of email addresses on it. And so do we want to play with this for a few months and make it lots better and then invite all those people? Or do we want to make it lots better so that it's worth our time to go and invite, like, does anybody have opinions or feedback on any of that? I see it as all interconnected, so I hope that's not too jumbled. Yes, Carrie.
Can you make groups that are exclusive?
Yes, you can make groups that are exclusive. Oh yeah, and I wanted to do that.
So if we can make groups that are exclusive, we can create groups for our teams where we know the information we're sharing might not go to some newcomer or
Yes.
who knows.
Yeah, and that's part of that layered approach that we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some filter, and we don't know what it is yet, to just get into this site because it's invitation only. And then there's another layer of safety. So let's say Julie Vanesti wants to create a group on,
Performance management.
sure, on performance management, and I'm not going to put any description in here right now. And she's going to create it, and then she's going to say, this is private. I'd rather that there weren't hidden groups, but right now that is a setting, so you could even do that so nobody knows that they're being left out. I don't know. In terms of, we talked about transparency in our subgroup this morning. I don't know if we'd want to do that. Whoa, sorry, I'm not very good with this trackpad. It's, okay. Which members of this group are allowed to invite others? So then you can decide that when you start a group, when you create a group, you are the administrator of that group. There are only a few select elite right now who are administrators for the site as a whole. But if you start the group, that's your group, and you have powers that other people don't have. And so if you want everybody in your group to have those powers, extend them. Like, for instance, when I set up the Utah workshop group, I didn't realize that Antonia couldn't upload documents, and so then I just made her administrator, and then she could. And then we were sharing that group together. So anyways, yes, it's very possible to have these groups that are more private, more secure.
Can you manage documents like Google Docs here? Like if we're writing proposals together?
Yes, and I did an experiment this morning. Okay, so I'm gonna, let's see. I wonder if it's just gonna let me leave this. Let's find out. Yep. So in the Utah workshop group, and in every group. So you see read-only files. Those are all of the files that Antonia has uploaded. I can go there, and there's this huge, lovely directory of different documents that I can then download to my computer. So that's lovely and functional. And then over here, there's Docs. And that functions more like a Google Doc. I did an experiment this morning, and I was pretty disappointed that, okay, so here I open the doc, here's read, here's edit. So now I can do damage. I don't know what that was. Okay. And I added something to this morning as Julie Vanesti, and it's not telling me that I'm not seeing the record of it. There's a record in the activity log over here that Julie Vanesti made a change to the document, but it doesn't say which words, and I'm not seeing track changes or anything like that. So that frustrates me. I thought that was a built-in thing, but maybe it's an additional that we need to add. But anyways, yes, you can add to documents. You just would have to trust, without adding something else, you would have to trust that the changes are going to be acceptable.
Yeah.
What was that?
Add changes in bold.
Sure. Yeah, we could do that primitiveness. Who can view the history of this doc? Oh, see? Yeah, and I just don't know. Yeah.
awesome.
I don't know where the history is.
I'll have to
Maybe it is here. This is new to us too.
the rest of our team.
Okay, maybe it's there. I mean, there's tons of little technical questions that need to be answered.
Okay. But
Yes,
but
Jill.
like, I think it'd be kind of a nice bonus to the folks who.
To everybody?
Make them feel more like.
Sure. So you're saying
Yeah, but it's-
re-invite
it's an invite, though.
everybody
It's
who
still
hasn't gotten in there?
platform. We're not saying
Okay.
it's gonna be open.
I think that's a great
Well,
idea.
there's a- But even when they expand it out.
Nope. Antonia's reminding me that there's also, so in addition to the feedback forum or the feedback group on the site, there are also feedback forms, if you want to write, that are out on the table. And in the welcome packets, yes.
Just a quick question. Can we invite other members from our team, from our Multnomah County team, to use the site?
Yes, and so what you do is you send me their email,
Okay.
and we sign them up. You don't have the power to sign up anyone for the site,
Okay.
but we could make someone on your team an administrator on the site if you know how to use this software.
What platform are you guys using?
It's really similar to WordPress. It's called BuddyPress, so it's like the social networking version of WordPress.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question.
Okay. Yeah. And there are, there's massive catalogs of things that you can add. Yeah, and I think, a lot of plugins are they're like $15, but you don't want to buy it unless you need it.
I would agree with that. I think that you should sort of let people use the site and figure out what's useful, and then as questions arise or problems arise, you can just fix it. I think it's more. I would advocate for an iterative process rather than trying to be the Steve Jobs of we'll get it totally perfect and then
And
release
then
it.
lunch.
Yeah.
And I'll stand up here with a sleek little something.
You're
Yeah.
right, and you need a black
not
turtle.
sleek
You need a
yet.
black turtleneck, and
Oh, yeah, I'll work on it. Yeah, thanks. So any thoughts about when to add more people or other thoughts about when to add functionality?
I guess I would ask, is there anyone opposed to us inviting other corrections academics and scientists who've shown interest in SPP? Everyone nodding. I mean, really, let me know if you think if there's a reason not to, then we can keep working on it. But if everyone's like, yeah, sure, bring them in, maybe they've got expertise we can draw in, then we'll just invite largely, but then we know we can kind of keep groups, we can make our own groups, and
Yeah.
a lot of them won't sign up, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe making a few key improvements, at the beginning of April, and then opening it up to the larger group. Does that sound like a reasonable? It's not even nodding. It's everyone's just okay. Thank you. David thinks it's a good idea. Okay, go get lunch.
Well, I want to
Yeah.
just as someone from Utah beginning
Yeah.
to walk into this, I really appreciate the work that you and Carrie and everyone in Washington have done to make it work. And I know it's a really hard task and it's clumsy to start out with, and you don't even know what needs to be done. But I think you've made a fantastic start.
Oh,
and
thank
this is
you.
going to be a really important part of the network. So thanks.
I hope so. Yeah, and like I said in the presentation yesterday, this is an experiment, and experiments are allowed to fail. Of course, I would rather that it didn't. And I feel like if we bring a lot to it, we will get a lot back. Yeah. But that's true of a lot of options in front of us. So I can't, there's no way we can decide no one person can decide for everybody what kind of priority this is.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.